you're not getting those kind of starts out of Blake Snell this postseason, it's going to be really tough to win because I don't trust Tyler Glasnow to give you that. Yamamoto, sure.
Wait, what happened? When did that happen?
Well, to give you 6 or 7 consistent innings.
You were like on the Glasnow bandwagon for like the longest time.
I thought he was good. Like, I think he'll be like a good pitcher, but there's a reason that of the 4 guys
Who's
in the
flip-flopping
rotation.
now?
Hello and welcome back to Dodgers Debate. I'm Jack Harris, the LA Times Dodger beat writer, along with only one columnist today, Dylan Hernandez. What did you get? Plaschke pull rank on you to come out to the workout day today?
Yeah, it was Lakers media day today, so I'm sure he's writing about LeBron and whether he's going to retire or not or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is a better assignment. It's a little more interesting, isn't it?
I don't know if today's more interesting. It's a little.
But like, we already know what's going to happen with the Lakers. They're going to not be able to stop anybody, and they're going to like be, finish somewhere in that area between like Golden State and like the Clippers.
I was expecting you to say we already know what's going to happen with the Dodgers and the Reds, which will be the wild card matchup this week at Dodger Stadium. I think between like the Reds and the Mets, I don't know, if I was the Dodgers, I would have wanted the Reds. It's a far less imposing lineup. They do have good starting pitching. Hunter Green will be going in Game 1 tomorrow. The big news today, as Dave Roberts hinted yesterday to reporters, is that Blake Snell is going to start Game 1. Shohei Ohtani will likely start Game 3. Yoshinobu Yamamoto will go in Game 2. We debated this a little bit last week. You were on team start Ohtani Game 1. Don't baby him. Don't just let him go. How do you feel about this rotation order now that it's set?
Yeah, kind of the same thing because here's the thing, right? It's like this plan of like saving Ohtani kind of for the next series, not right. I mean, ideally, obviously, this thing ends in 2 games. You can have Ohtani go in Game 1, and because of the extra day off and stuff, he can come back in Game 5 on 6 days rest. Now, here's the thing. This plan only works if they win both games here, And so, I don't know. What do you say? The chance of them winning are 60% each game? It's baseball. Okay, 60%. So let's do some basic math here, right? 60%.
You do not know how to put 2 60% probabilities.
No, it's 60% times 60%, right? So the chance of them winning both games are 36%. I don't like those odds. That's some analytics for you right there.
All right. But they don't have to win both. They only have to win one.
Right, but the whole point. My point is, there's no point No, the whole reason you would hold them for 3 is if like you're going to win both games. Right, that's the whole point of it. Right? And the only thing that you're opening yourself up here again is for your season. It could end theoretically with Ohtani not throwing a single pitch. You don't want that.
That's the risk. Now, the more I've thought about this, the more I actually think this is the right way to go. Because, for one, if you cannot beat the Reds in 1 out of 2 games with Blake Snell and Yoshinobu Yamamoto pitching, like, you're not going anywhere anyway.
Right. Yeah.
You still have him for Game 3, which could end up being the most important game. You don't have to worry about starting him in Game 1, having him do both, and then potentially being diminished for the rest of the series, especially if he doesn't pitch well, which I think is the other...
See, I would throw that back at you, though, right? Is that if he can't deal with doing both on like a full-fledged level, then they're probably not going to win anyway.
But that's not... See, you can work around it. Like, that's the whole reason you do this, is if you get him in Game 3, there's an off day after that. If he pitches Game 1 of the DS, there's an off day after that. And then if he goes in Game 5 of the DS, there's an off day after that. And I think if you can at least get through, like, the first couple weeks of this with trying to manage his workload a little bit, like, I don't think the risk of losing the first 2 games, which seems unlikely, like, whatever, they have a 36% chance of winning both. What's 40% times 40% of them losing both, right? It's like a 16% chance then or whatever. So I think it's okay. I do think it hits on the difficulty of what this postseason is going to be for the Dodgers, which is trying to maximize him, trying to get the rotation to cover for a bullpen that still has, even though they were better over the last week, still has a lot of questions, and just trying to get, again, what's a lot of moving pieces on the pitching staff to line up the right way. And this is where, in past postseasons, when the team has had a lot of options and a lot of different ways to do things, like they can overthink things, right? They can try to push guys in ways they shouldn't. Like that's like the trap door for this team is if you start to overthink things. But I think setting it up this way makes sense. I like Blake Snell going in Game 1. He's pitched really well lately. Like, that's a challenge to him that I think is going to be good and kind of get him to pitch as good as he can at this point of the year.
Now, granted, these games were a while ago now, right? But like his playoff history is what it is. His average start has gone fewer than 5 innings. Who is more likely to give you 6 complete innings? I actually think that's Ohtani.
I see I don't know. He's done it one time this year. He's going to be on a more limited
He's
pitch
also
count
but
than
like
Blake Snell is
like
going
a lot
to be.
of we are talking about like the mental side of things, right? And okay, how old is Blake Snell now? 31?
32.
32? Okay, so maybe at 32 it's all going to come together for him. But he's had like a pretty long like track record here, right? Of like, again, just kind of in the playoffs. Again, his history is what it is. What the whole thing with Ohtani though is like the number of times where it's kind of like, oh, like wouldn't it be cool like if he hit a home run here? The fact that he actually does it, like he has so many signature moments that they all kind of honestly just like blend together. Like I can't even remember.
I guess here's my question for like, do you just look at like the physical? Because I put a lot of credence in. You know, you look at his numbers this year. The day after he pitches have not been very good.
Right.
Obviously, having him try to go 6 or 7 innings in the first game of a series is going to take something out of him over the last couple. And to me, that's where like the risk reward of this is like, he's pitched 6 innings one time this season. I don't think it's a guarantee that he's going to go out there and like give you 6 or 7 innings of like scoreless baseball. Like at this point, I almost trust Blake Snell to do that just as much based on the way he's been pitching coming into the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You got him going against Hunter Green, right? I know. Again,
I'll take Blake Snell over Hunter Green.
You can make this argument. No, but what I mean though is that like it's not like they're facing, you know, the starting pitching equivalent of the Dodgers bullpen, right? Like they have a real pitcher going out there. I like the idea of like, oh, you know what? They're throwing their best guy. You throw your best guy, right? I would be if this were like Yamamoto going game 1 for some reason, I would be a little bit less, right? Because that is the guy that I think could potentially give you more length than Ohtani, but I don't know, man. I'm not putting Snell ahead of him. I just think you go with your guy. He's their best guy.
This is what I come back to is like if you're not getting those kind of starts out of Blake Snell this postseason, it's going to be really tough to win because I don't trust Tyler Glasnow to give you that. Yamamoto, sure.
Wait, what happened? When did that happen?
Well, to give you 6 or 7 consistent innings.
You were like on the Glasnow bandwagon for like the longest time.
I thought he was good. Like I think he'll be like a good pitcher, but there's a reason that of the 4 guys
who's
in the
flip-flopping
rotation,
now?
It's not a
How
flip-flop.
dare you? This whole season you've been talking about me and Flashy flip-flopping.
Well, you guys didn't think that Tyler Glasnow could pitch in like the postseason. Like you wouldn't have trusted him in any spot.
Right. Well, I didn't think he would be here.
Yeah,
Right,
and
so
he
he's
is.
here.
He's
Okay,
going to be available out of the bullpen
I
this
take
week.
accountability for my mistakes.
He'll be if they get to the DS, he'll
Yeah.
make his start probably game 3 or 4 of that series. But no, I mean to me this makes there's a lot of different options that make sense. But I think preserving Ohtani as a hitter, giving him the best chance to succeed
How
there.
much time is it going to be between Ohtani starts?
On this current path, if he starts game 3, which would be Thursday, then he probably doesn't pitch again until the end of the DS.
No, but like from the last start that he made in the regular season.
It'll be 6-8 days of rest if he pitches Thursday, and then 10 days if it's game 1 of the DS.
See, I don't like this like 10-day thing.
Well, they already did a trial run of this when they pushed him back between that Baltimore start and then when they put him on the first Tuesday against the Phillies or whatever when he went out there and pitched the 5 no-hit innings that then prompted him to go 6.
Yeah. But a guy that again kind of has been kind of took his time ramping up. I don't know. He's feeling good right now. I say you just throw him out there.
The semantics of the rotation order aside, some of this will still come down to the bullpen, especially if inevitably one of these guys struggles to get through 6 or 7 innings. The bullpen was better last week for the Dodgers. They struck out the last 9 batters of their Saturday game in Seattle. Blake Trinan got out of a big spot. Tanner Scott had his first 1-run save since July. And then Roki Sasaki joined the mix. How good or different do you feel about this unit now? And who are the guys that you would trust in the biggest spots that pop up over the next 3 days here?
I mean, what makes me very uncomfortable about this, right, from like a stuff standpoint, Roki Sasaki is far and away the best pitcher they have in there. It's not even close, right? I mean, that's what that was the pitcher that they thought they were getting when they signed this guy, right? And I mean, now he's doing it over 1 inning, unfortunately, instead of like 7 or whatever. But but the fact that he hasn't done this really much, right? I mean, the first relief appearance that he made in Oklahoma City was the first time he'd ever pitched out of the bullpen in his life, right? And this goes back to his days in Japan. He'd never done this before. I kind of don't think. I mean, look, what's happened this season has happened. We've already seen a lot of these relievers, inflict enough damage on the team. At this point, and look, I don't generally like going to a guy that hasn't done something before. And Sasaki, again, and even like these 2 games, I know like the first one, it was still technically a must-win, whatever, but it wasn't, right? They could have.
That was a big spot.
It was a big spot, but it also kind of, and you could argue, right, that from a situational standpoint, at least within the game, right, the Seattle one, too, right? That was kind of a big spot. He had to get Raleigh at the end. I'm still not crazy about having to lean on a guy like that. I mean, that said,
and yet you're going to advocate for him to be the closer.
Well, because I honestly think they're that bad, right? I think that the closer, or if not, if you're running into the stretch of the meat of the order in the 8th inning, he's the guy you have to go to because his stuff is so much better than everybody else's. And okay, so mentally, is he ready or not? Well, it's not right, you have guys that are complete nails back there either. And as good as Vesey has been, I don't know, right? There's some signs that he might be running out of gas a little bit. I'm not entirely convinced of that situation. I'm of the mind, Ohtani, Sheehan, just get you 2 guys, finish game 1.
Sheehan, who's only going to be a short burst guy, by the way.
Yeah, I read that, yeah, right? I would just, I'm just telling you what I would do, right? I would go Ohtani, Sheehan, 2 guys, finish the game. Now, game 2, theoretically, the pen will be a little bit deeper. Hopefully, you don't have to touch it because it would be Yamamoto going, right? Yamamoto could give you 7. You could do Roki for an inning, and then maybe
Glasnow will be available most likely.
And then, I'm not. I mean, again, going back to the point of not having seen it before.
I believe it. I think you could throw Tyler Glasnow out there for an inning out of the bullpen in this series. I believe in that.
We've seen Sasaki do some version of this at least, right? I mean, this is going to be a complete
I think that Tyler Glasnow can handle coming out of the bullpen. From a person that I would trust, maybe the recent results notwithstanding, Blake Trinan is the guy I would go to in those spots, but he's been so inconsistent, even in a couple better outings recently. He gave up a hit or a pitch clock walk in one of them. He had to strike out the side after giving up a hit the other day. He's still not looking quite like the guy we saw last October. While I would trust him in a lot of spots, that's kind of the balance. So, I think.
But that's right. At that point, you don't trust him. Because you're talking about the person. Well, then sign Sandy Koufax, right? I mean, you should bring back Sandy Koufax.
I would lean towards
Koufax.
I do wonder what do you think Sandy's throwing these days? Maybe he can do one of those underhanded lobs.
Because that's the thing, is at some point this is still a physical thing, right?
Yeah, so that's why I would.
Are you surprised at all that Kershaw's not on this roster?
Well, I think this hits at it, and to me, it's if they didn't have enough trust in some of those guys, or the guys with stuff, I think you might have seen him on it.
Is it trust or is it wishful thinking?
I mean, at this point, it's. I think that's a pretty narrow margin. I think the trust part comes, especially when you're talking about Glasnow and Sasaki, because as Dave Roberts has noted, with Sasaki, he's pitched in big moments before. He's pitched in a World Baseball Classic, and the difference between the version they're getting now and the version they had at the start of the year that didn't look very confident, looked like he got rattled, is that at the start of the year he was only throwing 94, 95.
Right.
And it's probably not surprising that his confidence level looks a lot different when he knows he's got 100 miles an hour in the tank, that he's able to throw his splitter to make it look like a strike a little bit more, to be able to get swings against it. He can trust his stuff more. I think Tyler Glasnow's in a similar boat.
But we're talking about the pen as a whole here, right? The fact that we're even talking about these 2 guys is an indication of how little trust there is in the other guys, right? Yeah. And if you're going to try and at that point, it's almost you're just you're just praying at that point, right? It's just
at that point, you're hoping that he's got some modicum of stuff, because I think guys like Blake Trinan, Tanner Scott, it's if they can go in there and pitch,
Is there any scenario where I don't know, the game's within 3 runs that you go to Tanner Scott?
Where I would or where they would?
I guess both.
Yeah, there's scenarios where I would go to him. If you have a run of lefties, if you have guys that struggle with a high velo fastball, stuff there are matchups where it makes sense. And I wouldn't put him in a 1-run game in the ninth, because I think there's been too many times where he's come into those situations and it hasn't looked great. And I think that's kind of the big question, because the way the bullpen's pitched the last couple weeks, I have more trust in guys to handle a 7th inning or an 8th inning without blowing things. I still think Vezina is a good fireman guy for them, as someone who can come in and like get swing and miss a little bit more consistently, get a strikeout when he needs it. But yeah, it's like you got to figure out like who do you trust in the ninth to mentally handle that, and who can have the stuff to work out of danger if he gets in it. And it leaves a lot of different options open, which again hits back to like the, do you overthink it and like push Tyler Glasnow into a spot that it turns out he can't handle? This is to me why like there's going to be so much attention focused on the pitching coming into this series. It's really about the lineup. Like the lineup has to, like this Reds starting rotation is good. Hunter Green has really good stuff. Nick Lodolo has given the Dodgers some troubles in the past. Andrew Abbott would probably go game 3. He's probably had an even more productive
Okay, so you
season.
agree that either way, we're talking about like kind of like a low scoring environment, right?
Well, that's why the offense is going to be important, because
Right.
the difference between leading by a run or two in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning versus tacking on and getting up 3 or 4 runs, especially early in the postseason, can make all the difference. Because I do think,
But here's the thing, though, right? It's again, if we're talking about that type of, at least like through say the first 6, 7 innings, right? If it's going to be like if it's going to be a 2-1 type game, which side of that 2-1 you're on matters a lot, right? And I just think, right? That
leading 2-1 in the 8th inning as opposed to trailing
right.
2-1
No,
is a,
right?
is a
And
big
I
difference.
just think, right? No, like look, Blake Snell's won 2 Cy Young awards. He's going to keep them in the game. The question is like who's going to actually outpitch the other guy, right? And you can talk about lineup this and that, whatever, but like again,
but that's why the lineup's important.
in this type of environment, right? My money is I am betting on Shohei Ohtani.
I think the production you're going to get from all those guys, what you can expect from all those guys, is pretty similar.
No, but like pretty similar. Like I said, right? Like giving up 1 run and giving up 2 runs is pretty similar. But again, which side of that of like a 2-1 game you're on makes a huge difference.
That's why, to me, the series comes down to like the offense, and if they can keep them out of those situations where at the very start of the postseason you got to figure out
Yeah,
who
but
to
you
use.
can't use the offense to kind of change the focus of the argument. I mean, we're talking about which is like the better starting pitcher, right? And regardless of what the offense does, I'm not really sure that changes still it comes down to like who's the better guy to start this game. And I just personally think it's Ohtani. Now, I could be wrong. I mean, look, Snell,
Sure.
right? As David Vassegh, noted Blake Snell fan and sycophant, David Vassegh said, right, as he brought up in the press conference, right, Snell did no hit these guys last year, right? So he has history against him. And look, and you can like legitimately make the argument like, no, I think Snell is the better option here. And that's a legitimate argument to make, right? Now, I don't think so. Right, but that's not. No one has made that. Right, even whatever. When we're talking to people, no one has actually made that argument. The argument is that like, well, we need to, we can if everything breaks for us, we can have the option of pitching Ohtani twice in the division series. And to me, that's where it kind of gets to the point of overthinking. Like, I mean, again, like, loaded gun to your head. Like, who do you trust in order?
I don't think that just because they're thinking that way suggests that they think Ohtani is like significantly better than Blake. So I think it suggests that they're expecting kind of similar production from all 3 of these guys. And if that's the world you're in, and that's the determination you've made, then it makes a lot more sense to save Ohtani for Game 3. And then that's why.
But that's a different argument, though. Right, because that argument is basically like, I think Snell is or it's going to pitch at least as well.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable expectation.
Okay. So
you get a potentially better offensive.
Let me check
version.
back in with you in the 5th inning
Well,
tomorrow.
Sure.
When Captain Hook Dave Roberts comes out to the mound.
And
who's their long guy tomorrow? By the way,
think
is it going to be Glasnow?
No, he'll be available in like a short burst, most likely. I mean, like when it comes to long guys, like Sheehan would make sense, but Dave Roberts insists like he's going to pitch like in short bursts and leverage as another guy who you could throw out there in the 9th inning of the game.
I don't even hate the idea of Sheehan coming in after Snell, frankly, right? Given that it's like a left-right thing. Okay,
Which I think you could see.
And basically have Sheehan just kind of finish off one game. The fact that they're using him more in short spurts tells you they're afraid to just like exhaust that bullet in like one game and basically not have it available for the rest of the series, right? And that tells you what they think of this bullpen. That tells you indirectly what they think of Trinan, of Scott.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think clearly they don't have the kind of trust in
Is
them.
Kirby Yates still here, or did they shoot him? Sorry?
He's hurt.
Oh, that's right. Was he? Well, I just assumed that was like
he's
hurt. Is he hurt?
I mean, he's been dealing with this injury all year. But I think if he was
What's
pitching
that?
better, then he wouldn't be.
Mechanics?
Hamstring. That's probably hampered his.
Is it just because he's old? Like
I mean,
hamstring hurts.
This could be part of it. I mean, his problem this year is he's a splitter pitcher who hasn't been able to throw his splitter consistently. So let me take it back to my offensive point, especially as it pertains to Ohtani.
Right.
Is if you get a slightly better offensive version of Ohtani, who can help you score an extra run or two against these Red starters, then suddenly, if you have a 3 or 4 run lead, like I agree with your point, like the difference between giving up 1 run or 2 run from your starting pitcher could be massive. I also think the difference between grinding out a 3rd run or a 4th run against the Red starters is the same effect. And if it gives your bullpen, like to me, this is the best way this series plays out.
But the most important guy on the field at any time is the pitcher.
Yeah, but
right?
if you,
especially like in a 3-game series, like where every game, right, is like disproportionately important. I don't know. I think you put the ball in his hands, man. They're probably gonna end up walking him like 3 times anyway. Those cowards aren't going to pitch to him.
I mean, he got pitched to plenty last postseason, and he didn't hit very well, at least to his standards.
Yeah.
Well,
they had, right? I don't know. I just assume. Do the Reds have a, dare I say, a Tanner Scott?
They have 1 lefty.
Okay.
But they have 2 pitchers. If you go to LATimes.com and read 9 things that the Dodgers should be concerned about with the Reds, they have 2 pitchers, Graham Ashcraft and Nick Martinez, against whom Ohtani is 0 for 9 in his career. There are only 7 pitchers in the major leagues that he's 0 or 9 in his career against or worse. So I am curious about that little part of the matchup.
Okay, all right.
Do you think that Ohtani has a better or worse chance of offensive success if he pitches Game 1 or Game 3? I asked that in kind of a weird way. If he pitches Game 1, do you just don't think it would? You think he would be unaffected offensively? Because I think this year. I think I mean, maybe it's worth like a hit over a 3-game series. I don't think it's going to be dramatic. Maybe it's the difference between
could be
a fly out of the track and a home run.
But the best way to kind of control a game is to pitch.
But they have guys that I think can control a game equally as well as Ohtani.
I don't know.
Who, if they are controlling a game, have you not
good.
Blake Snell has given up 1 run in his last 19 innings coming into this. He has struck out 28 batters against 5 walks.
The other guy's like a monster, man.
Blake Snell has the highest K per 9 rate in the history of Major League Baseball.
It's just like, I don't know, like even when Ohtani throws like these breaking balls, it looks like
he's really good. Look, I won't dispute you that.
And it's kind of, I guess, it's like the pure physicality of it. It's like watching like LeBron or like Giannis play basketball, right? There's like whatever Snell's doing, right? And Snell, look, again, he's a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. He's really good. Whatever Ohtani's doing is just like something completely different what the other guys are doing.
And I agree. Like when everybody's on, Ohtani is like the best guy. It's just that, again, he's made 3 starts this year in which he's even completed 5 innings. He's only recently moved out of rehab mode or whatever they were calling it. Like, it'd be one thing if Shohei Ohtani for 2 months straight had been going out there.
This guy shows up, man.
Maybe.
He shows up.
Maybe.
Your guy pitches less than 5 innings a start in the postseason.
And that's, but again, like these are.
You like that? You like that 4 1/3? Is that your thing?
And that's the risk. I don't think like Ohtani is such a guarantee to go out there and give you 7 scoreless innings.
Well,
and if he only gives you 6, or if he runs into trouble and can only get through 5, then it's going to be the same problem. Like
it is.
Like I think it would be one thing if Ohtani had been making full-length starts of 6 or 7 innings for the last 2 months and have been looking dominant. Then I think we're having a different discussion. But he hasn't been. The one way this series goes bad with the bullpen, because you're not working around this. Like whatever you do in the bullpen, it's coming with uncertainties. It's coming with questions. And if you put yourself in a 1 or 2 run game, you got to cross your fingers. I think the best outcome for the Dodgers in this series is that the offense can have success against the Reds starting pitching, which they can. Like the Reds starters are good, but it's not like they have 3 Cy Young candidates over there. They have some good, talented, interesting arms, but they're also arms that the Dodgers have gotten to in the past and should be able to get to if they have a good offensive approach this series. And if you can allow your bullpen, like this is what's really interesting to me about this setup, is if you can give your bullpen a chance to have some like layup appearances or just go out and protect a 3 or 4 run lead, where like one mistake doesn't put you on the brink of elimination.
That's not a layup for this team.
I think the way they've been pitching, like I would feel pretty safe if they're up three
More
or
like
four
a
runs.
layup in like.
And if they
Like
can get
little
through
kids,
it,
like 6-year-old
well,
basketball,
maybe.
right?
But if they can get through it, like confidence can build quickly in the bullpen, and I think you felt that over the last week. And if they can get through this series, and the bullpen comes out of it feeling good about itself, then I think they have all the ingredients to like make a run to the World Series.
You know what though? If they get knocked out of here in 2 games and Ohtani doesn't throw a
Then
single
it's going to
pitch,
be bad.
then it's going to
That'll
be like
bad.
really bad, right? And this is the thing. It's like, you know, you can talk about the process, this and that, and was our process solid, whatever. But this is about going to end up being about results, right? I mean, and here's the thing. Ultimately, with this Snell-Ohtani Game 1 issue, if they win those 2 games, it's brilliant, right? If they lose and they get bounced and Ohtani doesn't have to, right? Like, then it turns into like, well, then you overthought. The way things are going right now, the world could end tomorrow.
That's
Maybe this will be the
I
last
suppose, a
baseball game
possibility.
ever played in Western civilization. And you know what? Wouldn't you rather win it than lose?
Sure, that's one way to look at it. Now you're also quoting Dassey again. There is no tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow.
Well, there will be at least 2 tomorrows for the Dodgers, assuming that Western civilization doesn't end in the next 48 hours, because the series is going at least 2 games. It's a best of 3. We'll be back here tomorrow night after the game with
Flashkey.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know people have missed our always professional, insightful post-game shows. Dodgers Reds best of 3 starting tomorrow. You can catch all our coverage on LATimes.com. Thank you for watching.